All right, it's going to work this time. All right.
Yeah, I just updated my Zoom as well.
Nah, it's just doing
It's on your side.
something
Okay.
like,
Because I'm seeing the YouTube meeting now.
all right, let me hey, whoa, it's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth this time. All right.
Yeah, I just updated my Zoom.
Let me see. Oh, I don't have us there. I'm in now. I'm in now. Whoa. All right, you just let's see. The delay thing always monkeys my scene.
Cool,
What's happening, Leggy Maggie? Let's see if I come on the screen here. Silence. All right, let's see. Oh, I'm muted too. I muted myself. Let's see how this works. All right, then now we're on. Hey, what's happening? Whoa, it's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I'm here with my guest promo code, my co-host promo code.
That's me.
That's
promo
you.
Code Jordan.
Here, just talk for 1
Richard.
second and let me get this dialed in for us on the YouTube front here. Dude, where is it? That's
promo code Victor.
Promo codes, dude. Promo codes. So what's going on out there, man? We were scheduled to do it at 6:30. We had some technical difficulties. God intervened because you had to go pick up your son.
Yeah, and I just, it's a school night and just trying to get the kids lined up, and my wife was working in the hospital today, so she's a superhero.
Is she the superhero they're gonna fire because her power is so strong?
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly,
Superman's cape is owned by someone else. I think the cape is made in China, but the job is produced in Israel. It's a complicated situation.
Is it a complicated situation out there?
You wouldn't understand.
I would.
It's something for heroes only to understand.
So only heroes would understand.
Nor are you an expert.
So. Zeros get nothing. All right. One more. All right. We've got. It's weird. It did a bunch of the things that it normally doesn't do to get this rolling. So it intuitively seems to want to play. All right. So I think we're good. Let's see. All right, we're good. We got a chat. We got blah, blah, blahs here, dude. Gunler reporting from duty. All systems are go. We got the Ledge View, Meggy Leggy, Matt McKinley for early. Everyone's 11 of you smash that like button. You just smash it, dude. Like your life depends on it.
Smash it.
And if you type dislike, just type, I hit the mute button again. So we're here to ride the skatrix episode number 12. Next weekend's going to be lucky number 13. We got
to prepare for that one.
We will. Oh wait, I forgot. I needed to put my smock on too. I de-armed because I was going to sweat it. I was going to sweat getting all dialed in. So there's that custom made force field.
That's filled with a lot of
this thing character. Was made with love, dude. That's like hand painted and stuff too. This thing's rad. Except it's super stiff. It's like I think it could absorb. You know how like when the Native Americans, the Plains Indians, the original people out there, I forget which tribe, they used to get all like bulletproof, man. Like God's got me covered. Their spirit animal had them covered. It's just like that. But I don't think I need like bulletproof vest tonight. I think it will deflect.
I'm in my garage, so I'm bulletproofing from the cold. So
it's cold up there. It's hot down here.
Yeah, it's a little cold tonight. It's getting a little nipply.
We've had like a heat wave. It's that summer vibe, man. The winter summer vibe. So what's been going? Oh, here, wait, I forgot. Here, hold on.
What is that?
Oh, you left too, dude. You're supposed to man the helm. So this is the our local coverage of our protest the other day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we got favorable coverage.
Wow.
Yeah, the headline. It's funny because the person who's had the Malibu Times for the last infinitely long, I don't even know. This guy Arnold York, he wasn't one of us. So someone else bought the newspaper like 2 weeks ago. So we got the super positive headline is protesters decry Mac sauce mandates.
Huh.
And then, but if Arnold York had been in charge of the newspaper, it would have been like anti-saucers block PCH would have been the headline.
Yeah.
And it would have been like a picture instead of that picture with the little girl with I'm not a science experiment.
Huh.
It would have been somebody with like a Trump flag or something. But yeah, we got pretty decent coverage on the thing. I was super surprised. I got a couple quotes in there.
Radical.
Yeah, they quoted the illusion in the article along with the school board member and
let's hear a quote.
Here, I got my glasses, so here, I'll read you a little here. So, and then we got a couple good pictures. So this gal right here. Where is she? Marianne right there. She's from Ghana. She's like, dude, we've seen the results of Bill Gates firsthand, bro.
Yeah.
Straight from Africa. Like, no. Sorry.
Yeah.
So all right, where is it?
And my teacher, he's from Senegal. And,
yeah, they get it. They
and
know.
He's like, there's no good in this thing. I just asked him, I was like, what do you think? He's like, yeah, there's no good in any of it. I don't need to do any research.
So they open it up with your standard stuff because we're battling the school board, right? Like the school board wants to mandate the sauce, and we fought and we pushed back on the school board, so they deferred out and didn't vote to pass it the other couple weeks ago. So then we had our protest the next week. So the first 3 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs is just the standard blah, blah, blah. And then it gets into here. It goes, last week, a group of community members rallied in front of the Malibu Pier to protest against the proposed sauce mandate in Malibu schools. That's me, parent Hamish Patterson, along with other parents, said his main concern was the long-term effects of the sauce. Quote, we're out here to essentially protect the children and make sure no mandates come down on our most vulnerable population in our community, Patterson said. At this point, all the experts basically said they have no idea what the long-term effects would be on the sauces. Patterson said the term anti-vaxxer has changed. It used to be anti-vaxxer for people that didn't believe in the sauce, but now it's mandates. Patterson said, we're not anti-sauce. We're in for our personal choice, liberty, and making your own informed consent based upon your own interaction with medical professionals. I know how to do sound bites pretty good to the media, right? That's good, right? Wow. I nailed all of it right there.
Wonderful.
I got more, dude. They gotten happy here. Many protesting expressed distrust of the COOF sauce, which has been available to the public for 11 months. Quote, the one-size-fits-all model is not appropriate, and the mandates exclude people that have real concerns about their health. We just don't know what this will do to a 6-year-old child, Patterson said. My child is not an experiment for big pharma. On Monday, parents spoke more than an hour before Malibu City Council, requesting that members support their desire to reject the mandate for Malibu students. Quote, this is not a matter of being anti-sauce. It's a matter of medical freedom, choice, autonomy, and rights, said Mom Heather Alfano, who is an ICU nurse. ICU nurse, dude. So we got pretty good coverage. We even got the sympathetic school board member in there. So So again, we've showed up, man, and we've been pushing back pretty hard down here. And so the last 5 days, I've just been community, like grassroots organizing.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we got our website. Go to holyfree.org is our website we got coming up. I don't even know if it's live yet, but it'll be.
I'll check it out. Send me a link.
holyfree.org. But yeah, so it, like, you know, it's that thing. It's trying to teach people how to be an activist, which is basically, I think people don't understand that doing this stuff is about media interface and public interface. So it's like everyone's got to agree on the talking point, and then you go out there and you just stick to the talking point. Like that, people don't get it. You just say the same thing over and over again. Whatever the question is, the answer is always the same. They ask you like, well, what do you think about the school mandates for the couve sauce? And you give them that answer that I gave. And then they ask you, so what do you think about T-bone steaks at Chick-fil-A? You say this exact same thing. What do you think about sailboats going out to Catalina? You say the exact same thing, dude. They're the media. You just don't deviate from the soundbite.
That's right.
And so it's been trying to inform these parents what's been going on, dude. It's funny. I've been talking to a bunch of parents that 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago are big ballers in Los Angeles here, and they're looking to me for help. Like, what do we do? Like, what do we do? I'm a major movie producer. Like, what do I do? I'm like, all right, have me over, get your parents together, and I'll come over. We'll have some coffee, and I'll get them empowered, man. Because people just don't realize they've been empowered. They think that going to Hollywood or collecting money and trinkets and promo codes has empowered them. They don't realize they have zero power. Like, the money can't buy you nothing, players. So that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to?
I haven't had that much of a colorful week as you have. Mine has been pretty we actually had a festival yesterday, which was pretty cool at my kids' school. I'm convinced that, I guess, the area that I live in, someone was asking if I was Jewish. I come from a Jewish family, but I was telling them I've been Muslim since 1996.
It's 1996, yo.
Yeah, since 1996, yo.
That's like what hip hop artists can you track their rising?
I was a big KRS-One fan.
KRS-One, dude, that dude's dropping truth bombs to this day, dude.
Yeah. He became a little bit kind of weird after a while, because he has like this whole religion he started called the Temple of Hip Hop or something. It's kind of weird, but other than that,
he's trying to put himself between the people and God.
Yeah, it's
a bad move.
He's got definitely. I don't have the same reverence as I used to have for him. That's for sure. But at the time, it was instrumental. But yeah, we had a festival this weekend, and I've just been working, man. I haven't really had much go on except just staying home, being a homebody and working on my business. Skating a little bit. I skated today. That was fun.
Yeah. It's always good, man.
Rolled around. I went to Sprouts today, and the guy was like, he did the mask thing to me, and I was like, we're still
at Sprouts?
This? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. In Newark, California. And I've been going there so many times, and they never said anything. And he's like, everyone's got one on in there still. And I was just like, dude, I'm not like doing it with you. I'm not doing it. And I just got my food. I ignored him, and I just left. And I realized that, this area I live in, I think it's by, it's by like where you live geographically. And I think my area is pretty gnarly still. So yeah.
That's trippy that Sprouts pulled that, dude.
Well, the whole area is a bummer, it's not like, imagine the majority of people up here are, to put it plainly, a majority of people here are immigrants. They're either from China or India. And so it's a very, there's not a lot of like people who are raised here or from here. If they are, they're mostly inland, and they're greatly overshadowed by the other demographics. So anyways, it's been pretty weird coming to grips with that. So I did reach out
I'm tripping on Sprouts, dude.
Yeah, well that was what, why I've been going there without anything. And I still go in there regardless, even if they say something, but it's just been interesting. I will, however, see randomly like some dudes, and I'll see them without, it's weird, man. Everyone rocks it still up here. Everyone in every store. So we'll figure.
Really? That's because it's funny. I went to, I don't even play that game anymore. And I was at the Chinese military base where you buy your building supplies, and there was all sorts of people not rocking it, man.
Yeah, everyone up here is fully just
really. I noticed people are
in
like
the stores,
less and less
in the stores.
Like the gulf of who's rocking it versus who's not's widening. Like more people are just
not up here.
Really?
Not budging. I'm just being, I wish it would. I have a feeling, and we can get into this later, but I have a feeling that it has a lot to do with, this is the technocratic hub. So you got a lot of the efforts are really pushed here to keep everyone sort of subdued, because they got to do a lot of beta testing for a lot of the technology that's rolling out on the back of this. So many people are still kept in the state of whatever worry. I go to my local mosque to pray, and most people still have the mask on, and that's just, to me, that's a whole other conversation, but it's concerning, And what's ironic, I'm seeing more outside. I'm seeing more of the children that are wearing the mask than the adults now. So the adults are like, "Oh, I'm back. I'm sauced, but my kid isn't, so they got to be protected." So it's strange.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know. Like, I think that's where I've truly kind of lucked out on the on just getting with this kind of alternative community, man. Is we're pretty solid, dude.
Yeah, look, I guarantee you that it's purely by demographic. You know this, but it's purely by geographical location, like where you're at. I'm a stone's throw away from Facebook. I live literally across the river. Or the whatever.
I'm driven right by their headquarters going to your place.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's right there. And
I know, I kind of know where you live, but I don't really.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to get your VR goggles. So
I know where the chicken shop is, where we had kebabs.
I'll give you my address. Don't worry. It's public. Homeland Security knows it.
It's public, man. Yeah. It's I think what we were talking about was the meta, right? Lord Zucky's new meta, right? And the meta is very interesting because the more and more you do, like, right, the meta thing is like the goggles, you put the goggles on, VR, virtual reality, the whole thing. And I'm like on the thing, and I think you're kind of here with me a little bit too, is the goggles are already on. And I don't think that you need any, like, so it's 10:23 Pacific Standard Time. It's, I believe, roughly 7:30 in the morning in Austria, right? In Austria right now, the home of the dude with the funny mustache has decided that the unsauced part of their population is not allowed to leave their house today. So
that's not by design or anything. That's purely,
but it's very meta to me in that sense of like, wow, like it's not anywhere else but there. So I find that to be like super like fascinating, just that this does appear to be more and more very much bizarro and cyclical, and absolutely like the plot's repeating itself till we figure out. It's almost like a video, you know, like when you play a video game and you got to repeat the level. It's like, all right, like we're gonna start the level over in Austria. It's like we just need the dude to be a painter. And I like at this point,
like, he's a decent painter. He's a good painter, by the way. You've seen his paintings, right?
Yeah. You know, it reminds me of that dude who does the chain of still life paintings, that guy with the no people in it. His stuff's very that. But I think so here's another.
That's what makes it so. It's like that guy with the afro who does the painting.
Yeah, Bob Ross.
Yeah, I always forget his name.
Well, no, there's have you seen the documentary about the dude who started the chain of, like, essentially like more detailed Bob Ross paintings? I forget what his name is. It's fascinating. He was in all the malls. Like, everybody's got him in their house.
The notion that someone sits there and has all this patience and calmness and collectiveness, and they paint sort of with all the patience it takes to create this beautiful artistry, and then just goes out and starts annihilating people. It's like such a polarization, and it's very weird.
Is it? I think they're actually very
synonymous, very, like very Hannibal Lecter.
Symbiotic, is because you're breaking free.
Hannibal Lecter, he was an artist, right?
Yeah, they're all artists. Here, check this out. This was sent to me today, and this is too good to be true. This is, again, how bizarre it's all gotten. So this is a dude, and this is from colorado.edu. This dude sent this text in. Hello, if I'm 100% an online student who does not live in the state of Colorado, will I still be required to get a coof vac, the coof sauce? Then the Colorado U. Hi, yes, you will still have to comply with the immunization requirements. The dude moved to Texas, dude. He's not even in. He's doing online schooling to finish up his school, and they're requiring him to get the sauce. That's how crazy it's gotten. I thought my buddy sent me that today with this is his friend. So this isn't a meme that's going around. This is actually somebody, 2 degrees of separation. So that's crazy, right? And then I have one other little tidbit of how crazy it is. So you've heard about so the Methodist churches are very interesting, right? So last year when my Owl was going to preschool last year, and they kept it open, and they did an extra kindergarten to keep the children together in his little class, right? They're super cool, the preschool. But the preschool was at a Methodist church, right? So I was talking to the pastor, and she was she was talking and I was, super mellow. I was like, hey, but at this Methodist church, we used to have like 15 AA meetings a week there. Like there was one of my AA hub, right? And I was like, hey, when are you gonna like open up the church so we can go to AA meetings again? And she's like, well, and I go, she's like, well, we're Methodists and we believe in do no harm. And I was like, are you sure that this is doing no harm? I go, Alcoholics Anonymous is a recognized lethal disease, and it's recognized by the American Medical AMA, right? And she's like, well, and we got to protect this and that. And I was like, so we got into this talking, and I was like, so do you know who Barbara Ferrer is? And she's the LA County health person. She's like, no, I have no idea who Barbara Ferrer is. And I was like, well, she's the lady who has shut down your church and our inability to go to AA meetings here, which is a life-threatening disease from my perspective as an alcoholic. And she's like, well, and I go, you're constitutionally protected as a church. And she's like, and then she went back into her Methodist. We do no harm Methodists. So I'm real, like the Methodists are Looney Tunes. So I don't know if you know about this church in Kent, Washington. So, dude. So.
No, tell me.
No, I'm gonna take you to their website, bro. So this is the opening page. So when you would expect a religious body, and you expect the first page of their website to be, it's usually like a picture of the congregation, right? Like a lot of these things, right? So this is the I better make sure I got it right. This is the picture of their congregation, dude. Effective October 25th, proof of coof sauce, in-person worship and outdoor events, negative tests within 72 hours. Click here for more information. So this is in front of their whole congregation, right? And so you go into the thing here, and why I'm bringing this up is because you read in here and it says, I got to get my glasses on for this. It says, so it's talking about the CDC and the Northwest Episcopal area. And it says, we also agreed not to avail ourselves of exceptions afforded to religious organizations when other like-sized organizations are asked to follow public health guides or orders. United Methodist Church are taking this action consistent with our Christian commitment to doing no harm and protecting the health of people served by the church and the general public. So this church, these Methodists, have the ability to meet and not require any of this according to the law and the mandates. And they're choosing to actually do this to their congregation by choice when they have the ability not to do it. It says, we also agreed not to avail ourselves of exceptions afforded to religious organizations, dude. They've literally turned their back on their like protected First Amendment constitutional rights to be able to have their congregation worship together. Like that's madness. Like, and it goes on. It literally goes on and on about how they're just going to stuff you, dude, if you show up at the door. Like this whole thing's just, you're stuffed. And what I find very interesting again is from my thing is call me crazy. Call me Jordan, call me crazy, please. I'm pretty sure that Jesus hung with the lepers, dude. I am correct on that, right? Jesus hung with the lepers.
This is complete your thought. Yeah, this is the same topic or same sort of thing I talk to my congregation about, or my friends and brothers. But
So
yeah,
you're talking to the leader of this religion, and I'm a Christian. I don't do religion. I have a personal relation, and I'm very clear. I'm Pockets. It's funny. I was listening to Pockets of the Future talk about this. My thing is very much my personal relationship from within inside myself to God. I don't need a church. I don't need any of these people, right? Because it's me and God. I don't. So, but what I think's interesting is if you're claiming to represent Christ and God and do the work of Jesus, and you're actually going to put a barrier between you and your congregation, and they did it in AA too, it's insanity, because Jesus would have not done that. He would have walked right out of there and been like, I'm going to go get with the sickest people there are right now and put hands on them and pray for them. And it's offensive to me as a Christian.
It's actually, I mean, I'm not calling anyone who might be a believer in God an atheist, because that's not my room to judge. At the same time, anyone who, when you fear something that is ultimately in God, ultimately God is the one who gives sickness and gives health. So when you trust the science, or trust the atheist who's giving you the science, more so than you trust in God's plan for you, that's extremely problematic to your faith. Now, if you're a leader of a community and you're propagating that idea, then you're like almost you are responsible for misguiding, your flock. So it's very problematic.
Well, I think the thing that even I like when I first heard it, like I saw this as it's funny. I saw this as someone put it on Instagram, and it was just a picture of the sign that said, and they had the email, the website at the bottom of the sign. So me being me, I was like, let me go check this out for myself. And I couldn't believe when I read that first paragraph that they actually, under the state mandate of Washington State, have the legal and jurisdictional ability to open their church to everyone. And they've chosen to turn their back on a certain segment of their congregation. Like, that's to me what's even more offensive. It would be one thing if they're like, oh my God, the governor's coming down so hard on us. And there's, you've got those dudes up in Canada, like Pastor Archer Pulaski, who I heard speak down here. And you got those other pastors that are getting arrested and stuff because the cops are closing their doors and putting fences around their churches. These guys are actually like, no, we're going to close our church on our own volition under the do no harm. And what I wonder is, do they, and this is where I'm very concerned as like a human being with the and this doesn't even have to do with Christianity or religion or anything or spirituality. The rate of suicide and depression and drug abuse and marital discord right now and is so high. And why would a church do that when they're supposed to take care of the meekest among them? The meekest among them would be one of these people that they're excluding. I don't even get how. It's beyond me. It's very. But it goes to what we.
No, I mean, in Islam, and as far as in Islam, there's a saying that God made the whole earth, a place of prayer. So, if there's no mosque, you don't need the function of a mosque is to unify the community, and then the mosque becomes a central focal point for not just worship, but for it used to be in the years ago when it was functioning correctly, it was the place where people would, where marriages would take place, where people would meet and, have if they had business grievances or disagreements, it was a court. It was, it was everything. What's interesting is like, in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, said that the saliva of a Muslim is a cure. So if someone, for example, if you're eating something and you share that food with another person, then that there's like a blessing in that, because it, there might be some deeper esoteric elements to it, but it definitely humbles you. And it's a part of humility to have one plate and share out of that one plate with another person. Visiting the sick is an act of worship. What do you call we pray, we're supposed to stand foot to foot, shoulder to shoulder. And all these things, when this whole pantomime started, all these things were thrown out the door, and these very fundamental practices were sacrificed. And I have a lot of issues with that. And fortunately, not all the scholarship and not all our leadership is like that. We do have, like in every whatever you want to say, religion or group, there's rightly guided people. So I'm thankful for the ones that are speaking up. And there's a lot of, in the universities now, or there's one in Berkeley University. There's a seminary, an Islamic seminary in Berkeley, of all places. And there's guys there that are one of them in particular is very vocal about this whole thing. So, it's there's a lot going on. On a side note, I thought it was funny. It's like, I'm sitting here working so hard to like put food on the table of my family and pay the rent, and then I'm slaving. But then I realize if I make a song and just say, I'm one of them island boys, that one song, that those two guys with tattoos all over their face, they became instant millionaires now. So now, I started to think that maybe they do this just to insult the middle class, just spoil a couple guys and rub it in everyone's face. It's a weird time, man.
It's fascinating because, well, that's where we've been talking a lot of where I've been graced with. I've found community. I've been rebuilding a new community, right? Like for me, I kind of went. It's interesting where we were talking the other day. You've been struggling with your setup kind of falling in line with the system, and I kind of went the other direction where I kind of joined the rebels, so to speak. Like my pastor is that dude starts like most of his sermons like just railing on the numbers, and he's pretty fired up, but like the whole congregation's like in on it, man. And it's kind of led to this thing where like I've chipped off a new community of people, which has kind of empowered me to go find another community of people, like this whole the organizing of this and to push back on the school mandate thing has been pretty cool. Cause like even right now, like this artist kid, Marianne's son, William, I think it's her son, is texting me art direction, and we become buddies, dude. Like, and we just met each other. Like, but it's that weird thing where, cause I put myself out there in this other lens, like I've kind of developed this whole new group of people we're getting to know. And then we've been doing the same thing here on the YouTube channel, where I've just been like interviewing anybody and everybody. Like EL's in the chat right here, right? Like EL Murky Forgotten is in the chat. Like we got to know each other and he's up in Seattle, and we're having, I think Jeanette and Andrew are bringing their brand new baby on the live stream tomorrow. Like
Oh,
we're
beautiful.
having our first ever like freshly born baby on the live stream tomorrow. So it's like, I think like what we're doing super important for us, you and me, to stay in, you know, we check in like once a week and we're here because
and to be clear, I mean, there is people in my community that do get it 100%. And there's just you know, these I would say the community, as far as going to like a civic level and to go there, that's something that is totally doable. But I would say that it's part of my own my own sort of maybe laziness, and also just where to start, you know. It's so ingrained here. The other thing is it's so like like everyone's just there's no give is what I guess I'm trying to say. See, in your area and certain areas, there's like a bulk load of them, like of the people who are tired, you know. And I'm not saying that doesn't exist here, but it looks like, I mean, I haven't seen many parents at all like that are like, they're just kind of, they've been, I don't know what it is like, but it's or maybe, you know, maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but it does seem pretty grim as far as the collective consciousness is concerned regarding the pushback.
Well, that's sort of like with the meta thing, right? Like it's that thing of like, I think for me, I had to just go and get like this is like I relative, like for a while, pretty much like it, we were communicating the whole time during this thing, but like I was been pretty, like my basic peer group is pretty solidified into that thing too. Like the world I knew was like, they're all in on it. Like it's very bizarre. Like, but I noticed like all of a sudden, like the turn came recently where it was like, okay, like I have to be open to like a whole new kind of community that isn't it's funny because it is. Pardon?
Kind of cutting out.
Is it you or me?
I think it's you.
Is it me? Dude, internet connectivity fault. Dude, Susan does not like what we're doing, Jordan. We're bringing people together and we're not promoting.
Do you want to spend a little bit of time on the?
Yeah, let's get into the meta. I know you
on the
got
metaverse
prepared for this.
So what is your understanding of this, of the metaverse?
Well, I watched the metaverse thing, dude. I mean, you know, the alternate, basically the Matrix put in on goggles with Zuckerberg's cheesy graphics. I was talking to my dad about it. My dad's an old tech guy from the Bay Area, right?
Okay.
And, we were joking about how cheesy the metaverse graphics are. And as I was talking to him, I go, but they make total sense if you're on a bunch of psychotropic drugs and the corners have been dulled off. Like that's what it would probably look like to you. It's not very sharp. It's not very clear. It's just sort of like caramely, you know.
This thing worries me. I mean, I guess I mean, it doesn't worry me so much for me and my family, but it just in general, like I think people are like super hard up for this. And I think people are waiting to escape totally. And it's like, it's so timely. That's what I can't get over. I went into like a little lightweight depression about 2 days ago for about maybe 12 hours. because I came to the realization of where technology is going. And so Metaverse is proposed to be like a replacement of the internet as we know it, right? And not to get super nerdy on it, but point being is that obviously VR has always been something that has been in the, in the plan of these people, of this technocratic rule. I just think it's interesting how much it will take away a person's ability to actually like connect with the divine, with God, like almost instantly. That's what worries me. And I, in the way that the whole the way that Brovid-19 was brought on, and the way that the lockdowns occurred, and the way that the isolationist sort of policies that were put on people and getting them to be alone and scared. Well, now here comes along, very timely, the metaverse to give everyone a solution, right? And so what could be better than, like, you don't need police, you don't need prisons, you don't need any of that. You just need some VR goggles and maybe a backpack with some Soylent drink and a straw. Have everyone crawl into a big bathtub of jelly and just, slurp their Soylent drink all day and in their jelly pods and get, squirted all day from the metaverse. It's like, it's so like disgusting and weird and crazy. And the thing that worried me the most, and this is what I gather from it, or glean from it, was when you go into it, you create your own alter ego represented in a physical avatar. So it's like, I'm a short, I'm a 4'5", 100-pound overweight dude who's never been with a girl or whatever. I don't know. Or I'm a poor person or whatever. I'm not poor in the sense of poor, but I don't have a lot of money, or I never, whatever. You have this ability now to create a paradise of some sort, whatever you want, a fool's paradise, but you have this. And so it's very deceptive, and it reminded me of a saying that when the Antichrist comes, he'll show people paradise, but his paradise will be hellfire. And the hellfire will be actually paradise. So when he shows people paradise, they will go towards it. It will actually destroy their faith. It will make them godless. And when he shows them hellfire, meaning doing without, that will actually be their salvation. And so this, I feel like we're like right at the beginning of all this new era with this thing. So I know it's not fully operational right now, but it's like, I think people are literally like foaming.
I think it's been fully op.
As far as the free distribution of VR goggles, I'm sure like free vaccines and free VR or free sauce and free
I think my trip on that, right? And do you have the thing up, or like did you have something you were going to look at? Because
go ahead. I was.
Well, my take on it was this: when I saw it, right? Again, I think of it more as a product release, right? And I go, it was so clumsy, so awkward, so ridiculous. I go, he has so let's say that it is Mark up there, Mark the Android is up there, and he's launching this metaverse thing, right? Surrounding him, he has some of the best admin on the planet. My dad's was a tech admin. That's what he did. He was an advertising specialist for startup computer companies during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? Mm. So Mark the Android is going to have some of the brightest and sharpest ad people around him. He's going to have the top of the line release specialist. He's going to have the best money he can buy for a product release. So you look at that Metaverse product release thing, it was so sloppy, so awkward that you ask yourself, who let that out? Who let the dog out on that one? And yeah. I go, they knew exactly what they were doing. And where I think a lot of this goes for me on my observation of it all is they're trying to get you to think that the product's coming. And what I would argue that the Metaverse is already here. And it's been here for a long time. And that just we don't see it because we still skateboard, surf, live our life, play with our children, have a relationship with God. I don't know how all these, so I still don't get how the system stayed intact the last 20 months. Should have fallen apart according to my observation of what it is. And what I'd argue is that the goggle metaverse thing is a deception, and the goggle is called an apartment, and it's they just sit in their apartment, and that's what they do. Is the metaverse has been in effect for a long time. It's called the NBA and the football and Netflix and Mountain Dew and Budweiser and dispensary shops and all of this stuff so when I saw this thing, it was so dumb and poorly produced, and the metaverse looked so unappealing. And I was like, what's the point? And it was to get, I think, this kind of a dialogue so that we think that it's coming when it's already here from what I can tell.
Yeah,
people are hardwired into it. You're not going to wake them up. They're not on the streets anymore. Where did the 4 million people go? Where are all the workers? So you have in a nation right now, like you can go walk around. There's jobs everywhere. Where are all these people that 2 years ago were doing all these jobs? They're sitting in their metaverses fully plugged in. But I think you and me, like two guys that are, we live our lives, LIVIN, we're busy living, we're skating, we're doing our thing. We think that the metaverse would have this interesting component to it. What if the metaverse is just dumb chiclet squares? Just like I'm completely not interested in video games, completely not interested in sports, completely not interested in anything that doesn't require my body or my brain.
I hear you. I think this is something that is of a concern. I think it's something that's real that they are doing. I think that they're using quantum chipsets. There's a quantum computer behind it. They're going to be using the quantum computer for this thing, is my understanding. That's sort of the powering of the metaverse. There's the ability to go in it and, through augmented reality and VR, it creates a scenario where they have like this false sense of almost given this power of command over things at a whole other level. Right now, like on a micro, people do that through their social media account where they can doctor themselves up and they can make themselves look much better than they really are. Well, this is like that times 1 trillion on steroids, because now they can climb into the metaverse and all the only barriers for them to get some dumb goggles. And now they can go and create themselves. And that's where the whole, like they want to be gender fluid, or they want to change this about themselves. They want to be a woman one day. They want to be a boy the next day. It is gnarly when you think about the ramifications of it purely from the whole, the whole gender bender movement and the whole sexual stuff that comes with it. So I guess my thing where I think about it is exactly, but
that's the goggle, right? But what if that's already been done and it's called psychotropic drugs? What if like everything you said's already happening?
It has
the interface,
yeah,
the interface is so complete that the goggle's been inserted inside.
You're
behind
right.
the
No, it has been that, but 6, 7, 5-year-old kids are going to put on this, and it's not called psychotropic drugs anymore. It's called,
they don't have a chance because that's why they're
brainwash. It's done. I mean, it's
that's what the sauce is, man.
Yeah, it's that and that together, and I marvel at the spectacle value of it. I'm not thinking I can go out and save anyone, but
no. But I think what we're trying to dissect is where as two fathers and skateboarders, like where are we in the timeline?
So
I think we're further down the timeline than you.
Huh?
I think we're way further down the metaverse timeline than you do. Like, I think that, like, that's what I'm saying is,
no,
like,
it's here.
I think it's already
okay. So the point is that you never could bring out a product like this unless the people are totally ready for it. So in that regard, yeah, we are further down the timeline than we think because everyone's ready and primed for it. I have no doubt that this is all government ran. This is not I don't think anyone who thinks that Mark Zuckerberg and a couple engineers have come up with something like this is, I would say, deluded at best. But this is completely
well, sure, it's all DARPA.
This is all DARPA.
Well, I think that we should have my professor buddy on.
That would be awesome.
That's really cool. It's what he's writing his thesis all about, man.
I would love to hear
this whole thing.
Of that conversation.
Yeah, because that's where I'm at with it a little bit is my whole theory of just back away slowly. Like, I'm pretty convinced that when I watch the kids getting dropped off for school 2 blocks away from here, with all the scanning and the things and the blue dots everywhere and the masks and the whole thing and the parents without them, I go, Owl sees it. He's like, they don't live in the same reality we live in. They live in a totally different electromagnetic reality than I live in, like 100%. Because I see it and I have no concept what it is that gets you into that state of that. I don't know what it is. And the more and more I don't participate in it, the more and more I realize that they don't even see me anymore. Like, I think, like, that's when you say the dude at Sprout said something, they don't even see me anymore. Like, I'm an invisible unicorn, dude. Like, there's been one time in the last 6 months anyone said anything to me, and it's when I didn't wear my lucky hat. I have my pink hat I wear. The only time I went to a Goodwill and the gal's like, you need to put on your mask. And I was like, I don't have my hat on. That's why. It's like, I think that it's that dumb. I think that it really is so matrixed out. Like, when we're talking about the Gothenburg Gate and CERN, see, you know what I kind of know about the D-Wave computers and the quantum chips and the temples and the Anthony Patch stuff. And you have your relationship with God. I have a relationship with God, and we're skateboarders, right? Most people don't have a lot of these matching components. Like, the fact that we have viewed the terrain of our urban environment 180 degrees, 270 degrees, I don't know where it is, different than your average human being on its surface level, put us in a different dimension, right? Like, we look at We look at a sidewalk different than 99% of other human beings in a city, right? And then you throw in God, and then you throw in our ability to go, our curiosity to research these alternative thinkers, and then you stumble into stuff like Anthony Patch and the CERN and all the Tesla technology and all of this stuff, and you go, that's where like I go there. That's where like I'm convinced that their system is so dumb and lame and lower dimensional that it doesn't even exist anymore. The only reason it still exists is because we think it's still there. Right? Like it's very it's meta, dude. What if the meta thing that Zucker, all right, it gets you back to the thing with this with Android Mark. He releases again, what I'm fascinated about was how he released it, right? He came out of the blue, and his big thing is we're going to put sensors all over your house, and there's sensors going to be everywhere, and you're going to walk around and you're going to know where a coffee cup is. And everything he said to any sort of person that's on the level above is just like, this is stupid.
Totally.
Like,
so this is the way I saw this whole thing play out. It's when they showed him getting interrogated by whatever, the Senate or whatever he was in, some
drinking the water. Wait.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah, like that. And then they wheel them out in front of everyone, and this intense like thing about privacy and all this. And then a few months later he rebrands, and everything becomes about infringement in your privacy, like to the highest level, right? So it was the government themselves that runs Facebook, that runs Meta, that's showing it in this way, because there's something weird that happens. Like they do this, like they give and then they take everything away, and meaning that they show you that they're punishing the Android Mark because he did he's infringing on our privacy by selling selling our data to advertisers and blah blah blah. But then it's like, then he comes full circle as like the Meta guy who's gonna take all the data from every point and utilize it. I think that was a tell from the government itself to say, look, this is what we're doing. So whether it's kooky or whether I think it's lame, I think it's stupid. I will never put on the goggles myself. They're not going on myself or my kids. But I think it's something that's like people are seeing it as a way out. And I think when you have a critical mass of people that see this one thing as a way out, this is what we are warned about as like the Antichrist. So in Islam, it says that the Antichrist, all the non-believers will be stamped on their forehead. Okay. And it'll say disbeliever on their forehead. Now, there's always a logo in the middle of that, usually on the middle, probably a middle of that goggle there, and it's just interesting, sort of the way that it looks to me. It's like a transformation through the sauce, and a transformation through the goggle, and a transformation of a whole entire race of human beings that will never be the same ever again. And so that, weathering that, and for what's coming, I think we're going to see some interesting shifts. That's all. Well, I think it's going to be another 2 or 3 years before we're really going to start seeing it like represented as we go out into the world. We're going to be like, whoa, this is freaking trippy, because depending on where you live. Now, I live I live literally in the place where the majority of people are going to adopt it, either at home, either the kids and so my intuition's already moving, like I'm already sensing it, so to say. So I don't know. I might be overthinking it, but I think that there's other people that
No, you're
saying
not.
similar.
I wouldn't say you're overthinking it. I think that this is a very valid thing. But I got to get something for this next. I have something right on in line with that. Hold on. Because I had Lori on here last week, and Lori does the affidavits and all that stuff to get yourself out of the system, right? We send in the affidavits to, the whole thing about the Federal Reserve Bank in 1913 and all that stuff, right? And as I was talking to her, I kept stumbling onto this thing, right? Is one of the like truther and all that kind of stuff is about doing this paperwork and breaking free of the system and the whole thing. And it goes back to something my pastor said a couple weeks back. He said, you got to stop fighting to be free and just realize you already are free. That's a shackle that's been placed in your perception that you're already free. And so as I'm talking to her, because I like to have this debate with her because I find it interesting because I get where it is. And then I was like, what if, and this is about the Zuck's Android Mark, is I was asking her, what if filing the paperwork and the affidavits and doing all that stuff actually brings me back down into the lower realm, right? Because as far as I understand it, I'm with God, right? I've broken free from this lower dimensional plane, and I've given myself to God, and I've gone after everlasting life to be of service to God, right? And when I did that, I'm on high with God. So all this stuff down here is moot.
Hold on, I gotta go to my filing cabinet to get my freedom papers.
Exactly. And so I bump into this thing where like these things, like it seemed and why I'm bringing this up is the demographic that seems to be most in danger right now, from what I can tell, is the truthers, because they've gotten enough knowledge, and like a big majority of the truthers got sucked up by the Q-tardation, right? They got slurped right up into the, right? They're gone. They've gone Q-tarded. They might as well they're back at square one, essentially. And then you have this other set of truthers that are battling this thing. And I get it, but I go, there is only one truth, right? Like God and love. Like that's the only truth I need to concern myself with. So I'm in church today, right? And my pastor, he's like one of those pastors that would have been around the time of the Revolutionary War, getting us all fired up, do the whole thing. But he did something real interesting today. And I want to break it out because it bumped into something that I find fascinating. So again, it's about this flat earth thing, right? So a couple of weeks ago, the pastor was going, see, he gets it on a huge level, except he keeps bumping back down into the lower plane of this thing. So he was all about the science, some science stuff and this and that. But he glossed over this line in the Bible this morning, dude. And it stuck out to me like such a flashing red light, dude. And so it's this: is in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And he called the firmament heaven. And in the day and the morning were the second day. So when he read that, he said that the firmament was between the clouds. He was talking about the hydrologic cycle and God, and the proof of God exists is the hydrologic cycle. He was talking about that, but he glossed over this one thing that it was very much, I could see like the glitch, where he went, the firmament is between the water, which is the clouds, and the ocean. And I was like, I just wanted to stop the church and just go, time out. The next line says very clearly that God called God called the firmament heaven, and he called it heaven. Heaven's not between the clouds and the ocean, right? Heaven is infinitely like gnarly. So that like it was like this weird gloss over of this next line, because he doesn't want to acknowledge the firmament, because the firmament is this very deep thing that like, that's why that's why I get so pissed at the flat earthers who spam, because you can't, this is a very serious concept.
I've came to a realization about the flat, or just I'll say the shape of the earth. I came to a realization that only God knows the exact nature of the shape of the earth itself.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But well, I'm saying, because you have to come to because no one can go out and the thing of going out and looking at the earth, that's never taken place before, because you can't penetrate the firmament. That's been, I mean, at least to the Islamic perspective, is you can't penetrate. So you can't send a rocket or a satellite beyond and look back at the earth and get the shape of it. So all the cute pictures that NASA shows us, I don't believe that either. I just think that the true nature of the shape of the realm of earth that we call earth is only within the knowledge of God. But in Islam, it does refer to the earth as being spread out like a bed and the sky as being a canopy. So.
Well, no, I like, the best I've ever heard is it breakdown is Max Egan. Like, he said it like this. He was like, how did he break it down? He basically was saying the flat earth's a computer chip, essentially, dude. And like, I don't care what the shape of the earth is. For me, it's not the shape thing. It's the firmament thing. And again, I got very interested again, because I watched my pastor do exactly what I'm convinced the Android Mark's doing, and what the paperwork's trying to do to the truthers, is you get to this thing where right there's the portal of God's infinite, right? God's infinite grace, love, dignity, the whole thing. And then it comes right back down into these earthly realms. And that's what I mean, is like, because he glossed right over this thing. And it stood out to me, because I was like, wait a minute, like, because it just shined for me in that sense of like, wait a minute, that dude just brought the whole firmament thing back into the lower dimensional realm as he's speaking about the infinite grace and dignity of God and this supernatural ability of God. And I go, well, it says right there in the firmament was called, and God called the firmament heaven. Like, that's it. Like, that's the key to the whole. That's why the flat earthers are kooks too, because it's not about the shape of the globe. It's about what is the firmament, and the firmament is heaven, right? And so, yes, that is super because there's a layer of water above the firmament and a layer of water below the firmament. But where is heaven? Because that will define where the outer layer of water is, right? And heaven, from what I understand, is multidimensional. Like it's everything. And any, like the whole enchilada, right?
You know, it's interesting because if you look at, like, you know, a cow, when they eat, the cow eats green grass and produces white milk, right? But if you were to take a knife and cut the stomach of a cow, blood is going to come out or urine's going to come out. You never can cut it and then milk will come out. And so same with honey, you know, it's like the bee, you don't see the honey until it's been produced after. In other words, a lot of these things like the milk and the honey and all these things come from the treasures of God. They're unseen. And I think that the heaven itself, it is in the unseen, and the reality of it is limitless. And so whether people believe it to be up or down, or, I mean, obviously people think that heaven is up and hell is down, but there's states of being, there's states of existence, they're not in directions. And just like, you know, with the way that, you know, milk comes into existence, it doesn't come from the stomach of the cow, it comes from the treasures of God. You know, the tree comes from the earth, not really from the earth, but it comes from God's command and from his treasures. You know, people, we're sort of fooled by the means of things coming into existence, and we lose sight of the one who brings it into existence is all I'm trying to say. But that, the shape of the earth to me is not as important as how am I becoming as a human being. I mean, there's a lot of flat earthers that they don't focus on like actually becoming, you know, developing yourself as a human being. You know, spending your whole life arguing about the shape of the earth is not a very, I think, not going to do much for your development, you know. Well,
it's even that is even this segued into that, which really wasn't the thing. Was I was more into like like getting trapped back into the lower dimensional realms, right? Like to me, that's a lower dimensional. I'm more curious as to the firmament versus the shape of what that means, because you can get all up in there about it. And you like, there is no part of the earth that is flat. Like, as we know in our realm, there's mountain ranges, there's cracks, there's this and that. So like that whole thing's like weird. Like I get the lenses and the ships and the whole thing. I the P900 and all that stuff. Like I'm cool with it. Either way, it doesn't have, I don't have any skin in the game on it. Because again,
ZR Sean says, I'm confused about how milk is created. God creates milk in the cow, and the cow eats green grass and produces milk. I'm not confused.
No, it's the psyops, because we're talking about something like much bigger than that, right? Like as I've said,
Sean, it's gonna ZR Sean, it's okay, bro. It's okay. Everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah, because again, it's the thing of where I bump. Where again, the reason I'm bringing up is I watched my pastor bump the next line in the Bible because he didn't want to be a flat earther. Do you get? That's my whole point of what I'm bringing this up. This dude's got it on nuts. He's super solid, but I watched him skim that line and say something that's not in the Bible, right? He said something that wasn't in the Bible. He said that the firmament's between the clouds and the ocean. And I was like, no, wait a minute. It said your next line says where the firmament is. And I was like, wait a minute. He just did the same thing that a lot of people are doing with these things, is going back down from the heavenly or God perspective back down to the lower dimensional realm, because you're bumping into your own narrative about what it is, like the broken system. You get what I'm saying? Why I'm bringing it up is it's the same thing of like of validating their paperwork by fighting against it. You resist the paperwork with paperwork. You validate the paperwork that you're resisting. You resist, you like, that's what I'm convinced that Zucky's doing, is he's trying to get us trapped back into the debate about the meta when it doesn't matter for us. For you, it doesn't matter. For me,
it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is to see masses of people get sucked into it, because all of it leads to atheism, as far as I'm concerned. All of it, that whole entire process of the freaking goggles and that world, that's going to destroy, people's relationship with God.
We got some serious squirt going on.
I know ZR Sean got mad at me because I got stuck about, I got a little bit glitchy when I was trying to explain, honey and milk, and I got held accountable for that. I made a boo-boo. I'm sorry.
Well, no, again, it's
I'm ignorant. I'm retarded because I made a mistake. I made a boo-boo. Sorry, I'm sorry, Sean.
Again, it's the universe was contained in a mustard seed, right? Like,
sorry, Sean.
It's very much like that's where we're like, I see that it gets that the battle is getting brought back into these lower dimensional debates when like right at the edge of it is something much higher, right? Like you can, like, the main gist of the whole thing, like the people hem and haw about this stuff is because they're debating the shape. I don't care, like, about the shape.
Yeah, man. I don't think about that, honestly.
Well, but it's the same thing. Like, I don't care about their system either. Their system's null and void to me because I've chosen God, and there's nothing between me and God. There's nothing in this earthly realm that can be created that is more than God, right? Like the birth certificate, the goggles, any of it. Like, I can't put any of that between me and God, right? Just like that church that we started the thing with is putting the sauce between their parishioners and God. It's a very much thing where, like, I always, like, that's why I find it super fascinating when I saw the glitch today, because I saw it plain as day. Like, I could see his like just hop the speed bump, dude. You know what it was like? It was literally like, when you're skateboarding, right? And you do that, like, that weird, like, where everything just goes sideways for a second, but you just push through it. Like, your momentum carries you through it. It was just like that. It wasn't a speed wobble. It was like the whole thing came apart for a second, but it was
out
just
and regroup.
Yeah, you just had enough momentum to blow through it where you didn't even catch a beat, except I was super, like, curious to where he was going. And then he said it. And then the next line was super clear what it was, but he glossed over that line. And I go, why would you gloss over that line so quickly? And I go, because that line breaks you free from the need to even get into this whole debate. Because it doesn't matter if it's round or it's flat, because the firmament is where heaven is, man. It's and again, that's what I was trying to say about like Zucky, like, why you're concerned, 100% correct. Where I go, I already think it's here 100% and in full effect. And the only way they can get us is to get us to think that it isn't here. Like, it's in our food. It's in.
No, so it's everywhere. Yeah. But I just picture, like, a world now, like in the future where there'll be a segment of the population that like literally will be like, they will, for whatever they want to do, they want to book a trip to another country, they want to go into a meeting, they want to, I don't know, meet someone or date someone or whatever, they're going to feel they have to put on a goggle to do it, like an actual goggle, and go into this place. So it's and all the ramifications of that, like with school and education, and just thinking about what, but yeah, it's definitely here from the, you know, in as far as the, you know, people are already become infatuated with scientism and atheism. And so all the effects of the sauce and all this is already at play for sure. So the meta goggle, the meta boggles are gonna just push everyone off the edge is all that I see.
Well, no, I like, it's that thing, right? Like, so before, like there's that thing, it's like there's no separation, right? Like there really is, like that's what we've seen over the last year and a half, is try to like convince separation, right? Like the last 20 months, one of the things they've tried to convince everybody is that there's no separation, and the only way to save anybody is to be fully separated. And there is no separation. There's no separation from me to you, even though you live up in the Bay Area. Electromagnetically speaking, we're 100% connected right now. Like that's what the D-Wave computer and quantum mechanics is all about, and all that stuff is. Yep. We're never separated. We're all interlaced, and there is no separation. So that's what I'm kind of getting at with Zucky and his cheesy rollout, and the whole thing is he's trying to create the illusion that there is a separation. There is no separation. The VR, the goggle you put on, I'm convinced is the choice of free will, right? Like so it's like, remember in They Live, right? It's they put the glasses on.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the Hoffman glasses.
Yeah, so in They Live, they put the glasses on and they see everything. What if that is the fallen nature of man, is you have the VR glasses on, and it's called money, porn, sin, debauchery, all of these things, right? And it's war, and it's video games, and it's this whole thing.
Yeah.
And because everything's backwards and upside down, Bill, right now, is the only thing we know for sure, is everything they say is the opposite. What if it's the exact opposite of what that is? What if we're the ones, by going with God, we're removing the VR goggles, and now we've got clarity, and that's the reason we're able to even have this conversation, is because we've removed the goggles through our relationship with God.
Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, I believe so. I think our goal is to not have any goggles or glasses on, and to see with the eyes that God gave us, you know, recognize truth as truth.
Like,
I'm still bent on how to explain how honey is made, apparently, and milk.
Dude, you know how honey's made? God.
I think the bee goes and pollinates the flowers, and I'm like,
I don't need to know how the honey, like,
a case that the guy makes and goes in there and like does some math.
But the thing is, right, Jordan, you can sit there and you can like get the whole flow chart, and like, fine, you're a beekeeper all of a sudden. Okay, you're a dairy farmer all of a sudden. You're an arborist all of a sudden. You're a lawn maintenance guy all of a sudden. You're a scientist. You're this, you're that. All I need to know is the dudes who broke it down the best and the dudes who clarified it at all, who did the best job of ever clarifying what God is, dude. You know who those dudes are? Just a second. It's right on the tip of my head. Damn it, man. It's glitching.
Glitching. It was like, yeah, he finally made Jordan cross-eyed.
Hold on.
Love it.
Wait. Just a second. I got to do research. I got it right.
You don't even smoke weed, man. Go ahead, man.
Just a second, dude.
Whoa.
Oh, dude. What are those dudes called, man? What are the dudes who wear all the face paint, dude?
Aztecs?
The band, the musical people that put all the face paint on, dude. Insane Clown Posse. The Insane Clown Posse guy said it perfectly.
You're quoting Insane.
The only way you can explain. I'm saying the dudes who summed up God better than anyone was the Insane Clown Posse, and they said, "Look at a giraffe and say God doesn't exist." And I was like, dude, I've always
can't argue that. I mean,
there you go.
Pretty poetic.
Yeah, look at a giraffe and tell yourself God doesn't exist. And so it's that whole thing of like, yeah, you can get all weird about the bees and this and that. Like when you really dig into what bees do, I don't need to get into the mechanics of it, dude. That is proof of God because the bees are dependent upon the hydrologic cycle. They're dependent upon the sun and the fall and the winter and the spring and the wind and the this and the that and the little rodents that do this over there and the this that does that and like the ant that does this and the thing that does that. I'm like, and the worms that keep the plant happy underneath the thing and the bacteria in the soil. Like everybody wants to discount God, and I see God everywhere. The fact that we have tape that can tape my broken glasses together and I can see you a little bit better is proof to me that God's beautiful and loves us, man.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I just, in closing, I spent 24 hours in the metaverse. I made friends, did work, and panicked about the future.
But did you squirt?
Eventually, you're going to squirt. Everyone squirts.
Everyone squirts in the metaverse, dude.
It's like, well, like in the Matrix. What does he say? Everyone, what is it? Everyone pops the first time or something, right? When Neo like throws up. But actually, I think that was probably was like a what do you call meant to say that everyone squirts the first time.
Well, I think the interesting thing about it, right, is so you look at the proliferation of microdosing amongst that crowd. Like those people are all big microdosers, dude. Low dose LSD, low dose mushrooms. They're all part of. That's why, like, I'm always battling against the full Joe Rogan and his take the DMT and all the ayahuasca people, because that to me is if I listen and have you ever listened to Neil Kramer? I sent you the Neil Kramer earlier this year. So Neil Kramer's a very solid spiritual dude, man. And he says that all that stuff's just a vacation. And it's all the real deal is right in front of us at all times, dude. And that escapism is just a vacation. So where you're totally, I agree with you 100%, is that the world population is primed to go on vacation. Like they want out, man. They don't want to do this anymore. This is
well, it's brilliant for control. You know, that's all I see it as, is just like, you don't have to like
Must be
you know, great,
nice.
huh?
Must be nice.
Yeah, yeah, must be nice. Yeah, I mean, you get everyone just hooked up to the Metasquirt, and you don't have to really govern really that
I
hard
think you
anymore.
bumped into the thing is Tyler Durden said it best, man. You're buying stuff you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like, right? I think that your average Western person is so fundamentally bored and so just beyond squirting, dude. Like they don't care. They're bored to tears. And one more basketball game, they just as soon blow their brains out, dude. And they are dying to just get a squirt tube and some goggles to just disappear. But I don't think it's for the same reason that Zucky and all these people think of. It's like control. We're going to get control. I think we have on a worldwide suicide right now. I think that your average Western
people secretly like don't want to be around ananymore.
Yeah, I know when I used to be Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and I'd wake up every day hoping for mushroom clouds. I know what it is. Like this is so empty and hollow until you find God and have children. Yeah. Like that's why they've got it. Like imagine being.
That's why they don't want anyone to have kids. And just, I mean,
yeah,
I talk to the average 25-year-old. They're like, I'm not having kids. I don't want to have kids. And that's the sentiment of most people that age. It's crazy.
Dude, I'll tell you, like, I almost missed it, man. Like life was meaninless. All those redwood trees I tried to save, all those
Gunler, it's like E equals MC squirt. That's
equals MC squirt. Gunler knows, dude. He gets it. No, so it's that thing of all the cool stuff I did was always very hollow. And the minute I saw my child being born or God's child being given to me to steward, it all made sense to me. And I was like, oh, I think there's something like that whole mentality of not wanting to do the most basic human godly thing you can do, which is help bring another life on for God's God it must be the most, I guess I know what it is. It's the most hollow, suicidal, pointless, get drunk, smoke crack, beat off to cocaine ever, dude. And you're like, no amount of surfing, snowboarding, skateboarding, driving around, climbing mountains, hugging trees makes any of it add up. And so I think you have billions of people that are just like, if I can put the goggles on and you can inject the fadeaway into the tube, I'm in. Just don't tell me you're injecting the fadeaway, dude. I think people would
fade away, man.
The fadeaway, dude. Just fade me out, dude. Don't tell them. The human body, right? Yeah.
Hands up and just
the fade away. Well, like it's that thing, right? Like the human body will fight to live no matter what. Like I remember when I was in my darkest days and I used to sit and just contemplate ways to check out that I was convinced I wouldn't fail at. You know what I mean? Like, and survive. Because I knew that the human body's got like jerk reflexes. Like it will do what it takes to live, regardless of your mind. The human body wants to live. And so I think like there's that whole thing where like, if I go back to that state of being, if you could have given me a fade out where like, I didn't know it was coming and it was painless, I would have been right there. Like, yeah, okay, I'm good, dude. When I was 38 and miserable and like thought life was over.
Oh, are you talking about like the youth put on the goggles for euthanasia?
Yeah, I think
killing. Like just
Well, I
to
know, but I don't think that
put me
it's
to
like,
sleep kind of thing, or
no, I think that Zuckerberg would Android Mark would go metaverse trying to control people. I'm saying that people would willingly do that because they just are done. They don't even want to be
yeah,
like,
yeah,
they don't
yeah.
even need to be
Well,
controlled. They just want out. I think people are that miserable. I see it. Like I see like the lust for life is freaking gone, dude. Like the people at my church are alive. These parents that have woken up are alive. But your average person I see just driving around in circles, they were miserable in 2018. They're miserable now. Nothing's getting any mellower for them. They're like, dude, please just stick the goggles on my health and give me the fade away soy sauce and let me go, dude. And because they're too coward to like go out and blaze a glory defending our children, dude.
you want
It's
to
kind of dark. It's kind of dark and sort of hopeless when I'm talking, but I'm not hopeless. I believe that these people all need to make their choice. And when you choose God, you find this spark that you didn't know was there.
and I think there's positive things in this whole dark time. I think there's a lot of positivity that's coming out of it. It's definitely making us rise up to the challenge. And I think it's important to start thinking about how to make, get our own stuff. That's for sure. Like our own land, our own, thing that, that's important.
Well, I think that's kind of what we're doing here, is like this is an electromagnetic, like weird little universe we're inhabiting here for a couple hours, dude. I know Top Feet. I've talked to him a bunch on the side. I know some of these people like we've made, but that's why I've done the thing. We're trying to bring faces into this thing was because like we live in it like already. So there's a weird thing of like the spark of life, right? Like you're not getting me to like roll over. Like this is exhausting. I'll tell you, brother, like I'm like worn out on a level, but I've never been more psychically energized.
Yeah.
Like I'm mentally like tired. Like this is exhausting. Spiritually speaking, I've never felt more spiritually on fire than the last like month.
Yeah, I always when I go outside, I guess here in the Bay Area, it's the Bay Area. Zoom. I just can't believe that people are still buying it.
Me neither, dude. This is crazy. Crazy.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna go out in the world today. I put my gloves on, I put my mask on, and I'm gonna put another mask on and put my shield. And I'm gonna do my breathing because I gotta psych myself up to get ready for the world. And everything's okay. Everything's okay. And then
it's
step out the door.
Beyond me, brother. Like it's no. I'm telling you, like
full coverage.
Like I walk out sometimes and it's like a sledgehammer crushing my spirit sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, it's still going on. Like there's like if you would, Jordan, we're almost 2 years into this bullshit, dude. This is insanity that this is still going on. No, I get it, man. We're never going back to Kansas. It's done. Like, that's the hardest part to like really wrap. Even intellectually, I can do it, but to truly be like, dude, we're never, ever, ever going back to any sort of normal ever, dude. Not that I want to really, but that these people really are committed to this cult of ridiculousness. Like, I knew people were idiots. I just didn't know that they were this idiotic. like beyond my comprehension, dude. Like I can't fathom it.
Yeah, it's definitely a major grabble right now for sure. The grabble's thick. You know,
The gravel's
look, Hamish. Let me talk to you for a minute. Look, it's not a big deal. Look, okay, hold on. Look, Hamish, you're a good man. You got your kids. You got to look out for your kids, okay? Take care of your kids. Don't worry about these subhumans, you know. They're done for. Take care of your family. Make some
Those people,
money.
those people are the ones calling me in a panic right now
Yeah.
because they bought it. That goes back to this. These people right here that filled the streets in Malibu last week, they're the ones who are like, they were buying into that. And now they're like, oh my God, like it's not stopping, is it? No, not till you tell it to stop. It's like, that's what I mean is like, that's when I get tripped out is when I sort of bump into like other people like horror of it. Like, you know what I mean? Me, I'm pretty well adjusted. I've been ready for this my whole life, but like, I'll bump into like people that are like cool, that are like, oh my God, like what are we, this is, and they're like, and I'm like, damn, like,
Yeah, there's a I met a guy actually at Costco. He didn't have a mask on. And I didn't have a mask on. We were the only ones there apparently. I was like, cool, another man, right on. It's like, yeah, brother. And then, but he's like, I'm like, so what do you do? He's like, I work at the fire department. I was like, oh, okay, you guys are really going through. He's like, I'm tired of this shit, man. I'm just tired of it. I'm over it. I'm over it, dude. He was like so defeated though. It was weird. It was like he was not defeated, but he was like he was pissed. He was over it, but he was, it was like he wasn't wearing it because he was just. I don't think he probably ever wore it. It seems, but he was just over it. He might have worn it at one point, and he was like realized the scam. It was, I don't know, man. It's like, but there's that. People are like get it when they realize when they wake up later on. The amount of like the resentment is very, very
no, I've been dealing with that a lot
livid.
lately. Because I got all these people that just woke up and they're like, they just woke up and they're like, oh, like you can feel their breath getting sucked out of their lungs because they're like, oh my God, I let this happen to myself. Like they're like, they know they can't even blame anyone but themselves. And they're looking at you going, so you've known all along, huh? And you're like, yeah, I have. Like,
Well, it's the worry. I think the biggest fear that, or one of the biggest, the saddest part of it all is that when people's livelihood is attached to the sauce and they've never had any, like, they've never been able to like do anything on their own. They just always had employment and that's how but now they have this thing which they're genuinely scared of for whatever reason. And they're like, and that's what he said. He's like, now I got to figure out how I'm going to feed my family. And he was like almost crying. It's like, I'm tired of this, bro. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to feed my family.
That's the fascinating thing about it. Like me and my wife having the conversation of like a month ago of like, yeah, we're going to go like start our life over. Like, we don't know. We have no idea. We just know that we have skills and that we can do it. We've done it before. We're going to do it again. And maybe that's and again, is I think that the beauty of God, right? Like, and this is where were our early conversations years ago, before any of this was going on, was how we had been lucky enough to have these very traumatic breakthroughs in life through our own personal self-destructive journeys, right? And had to like reinvent ourselves. And the only way we could do it was with a relationship with God, right? And we had to reassemble our lives from the ashes of our old life. And I go, if anything's made me ready for anything, it was that, because I've had to, the fire was good and all these things. And so I look at it now and I'm like you just rebuild it all again, like until they lop your head off, like we're good to go.
Yeah.
But I think that there's this weird thing where like people are so identified by their labels that they're like, what would this is spiritual work, right? Like, what would I look like if I wasn't that label? And I go, that's like a waking up to God 101. Like, well, okay. And these people are so like that's what I like, the people that I feel the worst for right now, like that I pray the hardest for, is not the ones who are sound asleep, like they don't know. It's the ones that just woke up 20 months into this thing and they're like, whoa, dude, they're coming for my kids. And I might have to, like, I'm talking to people that are like, oh my God. And I'm like, dude, chill, dude. Like, I got the homeschooling data for you. I got all this information for you. Don't panic, man. Calm down, dude. Like, that's what they want you to do, is be afraid. Dude, they've got it very actuaried out. Like, going back to your metaverse thing, it's like these dudes have done their homework. They've laid bear traps everywhere and landmines and booby traps everywhere, dude. Like, it's everywhere, like that you can get your spiritual head blown off all over the place. Very tough terrain we're in.
Say booby traps?
Booby. I said booby.
Oh, wait, man.
Dude.
Wow.
I said boobies.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. And it's so, yeah, it's that thing of like, this is a very, very, you have to keep your senses about you thing. And we're just happen to be lucky people that like we were practicing this long before we got here.
As you were saying all this, man, I was just thinking about my journey, and like, dude, I took so much like LSD and was in and out of psychiatric hospitals for so many years that I came to a point where I think I used to tell people, I was like, I can't go crazy anymore because I don't, like, I've learned how to like become a functioning like psycho, I guess. But I've learned about myself and learned what works and what doesn't, and I learned that it is come down to a relationship with your creator, like with like having that internal dialogue between you and God throughout your day, like, and a lot of people, unfortunately, like they lost it some time ago, or they weren't habituated to it because they got busy with the worldly life and with making money, and they just got farther and farther away from that internal voice, that little voice that says, stop, like, don't do that one thing that's going to destroy you. And they ignore that voice over and over and over again until it goes away, or until you can't hear it anymore. And that's where that veil kind of covers the heart and people can't feel anymore. And so I think that this thing did wake a good amount of people up again, especially when they find out that they're coming for your kids. It's like, well, maybe and then they start praying again, and they start, listening to that voice again, and it starts like getting going again. And that's, I think, the hopeful sign that maybe Ira, maybe the Gravelers will be like, hey, I think, maybe we should like turn it down a little bit. These, I think they had enough for now.
Well, that's where I like, I don't think so. I think that I think that they're going full tilt boogie.
No, they're gonna go full tilt. I'm just being
they're gonna go
being generously.
But I'm really like in my heart of hearts, I go, I'm convinced on all the stuff that like makes you go, the D waves and the Zucks. Thing to pull it off is strong, spiritually fit, capable human beings that aren't dependent upon the system. Like in it, like I'm convinced that they've if you listen to Klaus Schwab, right? And you go listen to Klaus Schwab, that dude's evil, diabolically evil. But if you really listen between the lines of what Klaus Schwab is saying, he wants to get rid of all these people that are those people. I'm convinced that what they have a two-part plan is this. I think that their basic white papers and Agenda 2030 and all that kind of stuff is the whole thing. And then the Georgia Guidestones and all that, the 500 million worker crew and the whole thing. I think that's it. But what I think that's going on is it's a two-part play. I think they want to whittle down the 500 million and get rid of all this excess baggage. And the people they need to be self-sufficient. They need to turn it all off. The system's too kooky and leaky and dumping too much. It's affecting them. Like the evildoers are like, look, man, we've got too many leaky car engines. There's too many boats moving around. There's too much stuff. We gotta wind it down. We gotta slowly, because they know they can't just gut the thing, because all the plants still need people to turn the dials to keep them from overheating, because that wipes everybody out. They need to just condense it all, have a bunch of people there that are still turning the knobs, but they need those people to be super self-sufficient. And then when they get to that thing, they're good. They need a super healthy, physically adept group of intellectual minds that have taken care of their mind, body, and soul. And they're hoping to trick them into going AI with them, because their bodies are based upon the weak inbreeding broken dynamic, right? So they need a bunch of healthy people to take over their bodies to do their big AI switcheroo thing. They need healthy people. The people they don't need are all these other people. And the big trickery is they think they're in the winning time. So like I look at Austria, right? So you go, the people in Austria, right? Austria's doing the lockdown for the people that aren't sauced. So the smart Austrians who are unsauced are people like me that are fully ready for it. Any given moment, these clowns go, you're shut out of society for 6 months. I go, fine, shut me out. I don't care. I got puzzles, food, water, everything I need. Just leave me alone. They'll go, okay. And the gig is they're going to run their big extermination on the idiots that are walking around the street, because they're already statistically getting sicker and sicker because they're weaker and weaker, because they've shut off their immune system. They're not taking care of themselves because they think some magic sauce is going to help them. And they're not eating any better. They're not doing anything any better. So you go into the winter and they're out, and then the spring comes and they're like, well, we got rid of the dead weight. All the smart ones that we want that are these people. I really see it as it's the opposite of the truther, fear porn, doomsday.
Richie from Boston.
Yeah, the Alex Jonesers, dude. I think that those dudes are pushing a narrative to try to scare people that are smarter than that into doing something stupid. And think that they can. I met a bunch of them. There's a bunch of these young dudes over here. They're a little younger than me, about my age. But they're fully think they're gonna battle the system. I'm like, dude, you guys go right ahead, dude. Go right ahead and do that, dude. I'm waiting for the dust to clear on this deal. I'm hunkering down.
That's accurate.
and I'm coming. I got a pocket full of seeds, and I got a bright future in store for me. Why? Because like I declare it so with the grace of God, man. Like, right? Like, and then that is I'm empowered, but like, yeah, it's intense. It's not some casual thought that I have to stay this positive.
That sounds like a nice jingle. Like, I got a pocket full of seeds.
I got a pocket full of seeds, a garage full of canned beans, and a magazine full of lead. Hey, my, oh my. I got boxes full of puzzles, colored by numbers, and toilet paper too. Ticka.
All right.
Jazz hands.
Yep.
Show them the stickers, dude.
Oh, yeah. Dude, we got some high quality prints here.
Look at that, dude. Look at that. They're coming. We got them.
Nice.
Jordan's making them, the sticker factory.
Yeah, they came out great, man. They came out really nice.
Well, I think, look, like, I think it's like you doing that. You've started up doing like your thing. I'm making my own t-shirts. We are truly localizing our supply chains more and more. Totally. Every day, and being like, because I'll give it as like, it's funny how like Big Bear works. He's gone a little bit off the deep end again lately. I've been way more tuning into pockets of the future than like
I haven't been tuning into anyone these past couple of weeks, but some of the, I'll skim through the Instagram. I like what's the guy's name from Pockets of the Future?
Paul
Romano. Yeah,
Paul Romano.
He's cool.
That dude.
I like him.
Well, the hottest is I survived his like 70-hour story, like the most depressing, hard luck spiritual story of all time. And I just I went through that journey with that dude, and I'm like, dude just wants to make good YouTube videos for God. I'm like, dude, 70 hours later, I'm like, so what's this all about, Paul? I just want to make.
Did you ever interview him yet, or you talk with him?
What?
Did you talk with him ever?
No, dude, that dude doesn't want to be talked to. That's what I love about the dude.
Yeah,
that
rules.
My wife listened to one thing and she's like, he sounds a lot like you.
Totally.
Like, yeah, I totally relate to him. Like his whole thing.
Totally.
Like,
you guys are, you know what I was going to say? You sound exactly, my uncle used to sound exactly like you. He went to Paul Revere. He grew up in Malibu, like all that whole area of Palisades. But he used to sound exactly like you. Uncle Bill.
Uncle Bill. Paul Revere, man. I used to love skating Paul Revere, dude.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know if you can still skate there. You probably can.
Oh, the banks?
Yeah.
Well, right on. I'm going to send these out tomorrow.
All right.
But yeah, let's talk about getting them up and
no, all you gotta do is
the cool thing is we can create any sticker. So
no, we're right on the cusp because I'm getting my making my screens.
We can create any sticker like just on demand.
So I got William, the cool kid I met via this thing, as a graphic artist.
Okay.
Young dready kid from like Ghana, I think, dude. He's super cool.
Radical. Okay.
And he's like, so we can get some cool graphics going, and we can do some catchy phrases, and you know, we can have our pocket full of seeds. A pocket full of seeds, man. Rally around the family with a pocket full of seeds.
We should create a little jingle for the little jingle opener.
Yeah, you know, we need it. I should talk to Trent, dude. Trent's in there. He'll make us a jingle, dude.
We can work on that.
Yeah. Rally around the family with a pocket full of seeds.
It's too late for me to come up with any contribution to the lyrics.
Dude, you just keep that trench coat flaring, dude. Dude. So let me get on the way
This
up.
is my grandfather's. This is my grandfather, Milton.
Did they
Milton
allow?
Richter. Huh?
I didn't even know like a Muslim male was allowed to buy a trench coat like that, dude. Like,
Oh, I didn't buy it. It was given to me.
Was it given to you down at the mosque in the delivery loading docks?
No, it was inherited from my Jewish grandfather, Milton Richter, who was a 33-degree level Freemason and a full-bore Zionist who wanted to own one of the first grocery stores in Atlantic City.
Ah, I see. You're connected to the Orange Man, dude.
No, actually, I am, because Victor Posner, which was Uncle Victor, was dealt with the Russian mob. Yeah,
God, the Russians are
Russian
here,
Jewish mafia, which is Orange Man is involved with the Russian Jewish mafia. No, not a lot of people know that, but they were up in his penthouse. They were one level below the penthouse suite of
peeing in his mouth.
Huh?
No.
The Jihad Mafia.
Dude, can you pull some of your strings? Can we get the Orange Man on here?
Maybe.
Dude, how about
the price is right?
Remember when he used to answer the switchboard at the White House in the beginning?
I don't know.
Like the first 6 months of that dude being in the Oval Office, that dude used to fully answer the switchboard in the middle of the night and like talk to regular people who called the White House. Like it was like a known thing. Like I called a couple of times hoping that the Orange Man would pick up, dude.
Really?
Like he used to pick up the public line and be like, "Hey, so what do you think? How do you think I'm doing?"
It wasn't like AI with his voice, like programmed, or was really him?
Well, I think the whole dude might be AI. He might be the goggle.
He might be the AI.
he is the metaverse, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing is a lot of people think Russians are Russians, or those are Russian Jews that are running Russia. Putin was he was taught by a rabbi. He was raised by rabbis.
Really?
Check the history.
Vlad.
Yeah, it's look up burial. What's his name? Burial Lazar, something like that. Lazar, Rabbi Lazar. What was his name? Burial Lazar. Was it Burial Lazar? It's like the Russian rabbinical authority. I forget his name. Yeah, Beryl Lazar. He's from Milan, but from Milan, but his nationality is Russian American. But he was he's a Shabbat Lubavitch, but he's very close with Putin.
Putin on the Ritz.
Yeah. Here you go. Let me send you this link.
Link me.
I know we're winding down, but just check it out. It's interesting.
All right, man. I'm gonna check it out. We'll wrap this up.
Known for his friendship with Vladimir Putin since 2000, he has served as the chief rabbi of Russia and the chairman of the Federation. Yeah. Anyways. All right, brother.
Good night, my man.
Good night. Thank you. It was I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Always enjoy.
Always good. Always good to hang out with you on a Sunday night, man.
For shizzle.
For shizzle, dude. Keep your pocket full of seeds handy.
I will.
All right. Good night.